Ringo Starr stops fight with sex toys. Yes, that's the topic for today. Absolutely fascinating. I'm Pete, the clergyman, and with me is Mark, the businessman. As usual, what have you got today for us on this interesting topic?
Well, Clergyman Pete, I would like to bring people's attention to a very
Yes.
unusual subject, and it's about Ringo Starr. That's the former Beatle. Now, he has been embroiled in a legal case against the makers of a sex toy called Ring-O. Now, this particular drummer has challenged the trademark, claiming that it might have caused confusion. Now, Ringo Starr, the aging rock star, is 80 years old and growing older by the minute, has
Yes.
said that his reputation has been damaged by the name, which is so closely associated with his. Now, is this something that he should really be pursuing? Is it just a gimmick? And maybe, ironically, he's actually doing the counter, which is promoting the Ringo sex toys.
Yes, it may be more of an issue. Making more of an issue of it is bringing it to people's attention.
Yeah.
Certainly, when this was brought to my attention by your good self, I didn't associate Ring-O with Ringo Starr because it would be, I don't know, a Ringer something, a Ringer sex toys, or a Ringer dildos, whatever it is. It's a Ringer something. It's not Ringo.
Right.
That's how I read it. I mean, to me, it didn't seem to be even associated with its name. But I suppose it depends how they've used it.
Well, I do like what the lawyers have said, and they filed this back a couple of years ago. It said consumers will likely believe that the posers, that's Ringo Starr,
yes.
newest venture is sex toys. And this is an association that the opposer, i.e. Ringo Starr, does not want.
Yes, we can see that on the screen now. That's in this article from the BBC.
Yes, essentially tarnishing his name.
It's going to tarnish his name. It says the rock legend wants nothing to do with the goods. They said, adding that any connection would tarnish his name, likeness, and brand.
Yes. Well, I had another.
It's quite a claim.
Here. Well, it is quite a claim, and this is just an obvious observation for certain types of generations. And I can only suggest this in the form of a quick quip poem, which is around fallen star, as the way I'm calling it. Mm-hmm. And so this is my poem, which is, Twinkle, twinkle, Ringo Starr, no one now knows who you are. By not banging out any more hits, your old drum kit has fallen to bits. So my point is, who are you?
Who are you? Yes. I mean, yes, that unnecessarily sexual hints, I think, in that poem. But I get your point. Yes, he's a bit out of touch, and his bits are falling off. Or maybe, allegedly, he, as it was mentioned in that article, he's 80 years old. But I think that the question is whether there's two questions: whether strategically it was a good thing to do, because by highlighting it, the issue that you are drawing more attention to it by highlighting this in order to stop them, you're actually having the opposite effect. So that's the point that. That's the point that I would make. But also, is he right that it tarnishes his reputation? Don't you think? I put it to you, Mark. People might just think it's just slightly amusing because Ringo is by his name, and sometimes ring is used to refer to parts of the anatomy.
Well, indeed, and I would like to highlight here. This is from a business perspective. I can understand the concern that if your brand, which is essentially your reputation, and everybody's business relies on that, even personalities like Ringo Starr. He has been associated with music, and of course, obviously, with things like sex toys. However, it's not something that I can see that he would want to be associated with. Or is it? The fact is, he's always been known to have a very good sense of humor. Or at least he did, certainly when I remember him in the Beatles. And even post-Beatles period, he's always been an amusing character on shows, etc. So why didn't he sort of play to it? Now, he may say, but from a moral standpoint, sex toys are not a good thing, and I don't want to be associated with them.
Yes,
So
yeah,
I can
I can see that.
understand
Yes. Mhm.
that the branding issue is something that he probably thought, look, I want to protect my name. But more importantly, and this is the bit that we don't know, he has actually now withdrawn the case. And
Yes.
so the point to mention about this is that they've come to some arrangement. Now, I'd like to know what that arrangement is.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah.
that they've actually given him some sex toys?
A free
Is it that
supply
they've
for
given him
life.
some
Yeah.
money?
Yes.
Or what have they done?
I imagine money came into it. I mean, if we just read this part of the article,
Selling out.
there were two parts of it that we've mentioned. One is possible moral outrage. The other is simply protecting the brand. Now, the Ringo that they refer to is part of the Screaming O range, which
Yes.
Momentum, the manufacturer, says has sold 25 million products around the world.
And
The name,
Clement Peters bought most of them.
yes. Well, I obviously have my collection, but the name Ringo is also registered as a trademark by various companies for a range of products in the UK, from mop ringers, Ringo, you see,
Oh,
and
yeah.
biscuits. And it also includes a hormonal contraceptive vaginal ring. Now, I would say
Yes.
if that's allowed, the name Ringo, not Ringo, then
Yes.
why did he have a particular problem with this? It seems to me, having looked at it, it's possible that he has some sort of outrage against it. It's possible that he had a sense of humor failure, let's put it that way. But it's also possible that it was simply a money-making scheme, maybe not from him personally, but by his brand managers.
Yes, quite. And I do agree, you can't buy me love, as they say. You know, he certainly used to sing it, and along with his colleagues in the Beatles. But I think that actually it's a little trick. I'm going to say that there's a technique that often people will say that even if you're actually claiming that you're holding a certain position, he has brought his name back to the forefront of the media by actually coming out and actually having this challenge to his trademark. So I think here, as we sort of think about things, there are some techniques, folks, and maybe the best way to do this is to close out with a simple poem. And the way I'd say this is all about reputation calibration. If your reputation receives much admiration, with adulation and adoration, all in celebration, but encounters confrontation and defamation, it leads to much contemplation and castigation. So, just threaten to use litigation as your motivation, and backed by refutation and also confutation. Then try seeking condonation for such a violation. It'll boost your compensation and image stimulation.
Yes. Well, I think that's probably a good point on which to finish. That's the story of Ringo Starr and the Ringo sex toys, and the fights come to an end, ending not so much with a roar, more with a whimper, it seems, as he bowed down to the old Wonga, the old financial incentives taking it away. We think, certainly, he has withdrawn. So that was the news. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section below, because we love to hear from you. But from Mark and myself, that's all for this week. Bye-bye.